Captain Han Wu walked slowly across the shining metal floor of Nexus Prime. The huge space station floated in empty space, far from any planet. It was built for meetings between different alien races. Behind Han Wu, 5 other humans followed. They wore simple blue uniforms that looked plain next to the fancy clothes of the aliens around them. The main hall was full of strange beings. Han Wu had studied pictures of them, but seeing them in person was different. The Zephyrians were tall like trees, with skin that looked like colored glass. Light bounced off them and made rainbow colors on the walls. They moved with smooth, flowing steps that seemed almost like dancing dot near the far wall. A group of Corvan soldiers stood perfectly still. They were short and thick, covered in dark metal armor. Scars covered their faces and arms. Their eyes never stopped moving, always watching for danger. Han Wu could see old battle wounds on their armor. These were warriors who had fought many wars. Dot above everyone else, the ethereals floated in the air. Their bodies were see-through like ghosts made of light. Colors flowed through them like water. They never touched the ground and barely made any sound when they moved. When Han Wu looked at them, he felt a strange tingling in his mind. A tall Zephyrian woman came toward them. Skin was bright blue with silver lines running through it. She had 4 arms and wore a cape made of what looked like liquid metal. "Welcome, humans," she said. Her voice sounded like music. "I am Admiral Vextera. We know you want to join our coalition." Han Wu bowed his head slightly. "Thank you for seeing us. I am Captain Han Wu. We hope to work together and help each other." The Admiral smiled, showing teeth that sparkled like diamonds. "Of course, but first, you must show us what you can do. All coalition members must prove their military strength." They walked to a large room filled with machines and screens. Other aliens followed to watch. Han Wu felt nervous, but tried not to show it. This was Earth's big chance. Lieutenant Kim Soo, the youngest member of their team, stepped up to a control panel. His hands shook a little as he turned on the display. A big screen showed videos of human weapons. First came the railguns. The video showed long metal tubes that could shoot pieces of tungsten faster than bullets. The tungsten hit targets and exploded them into pieces. Kim Soo explained how they used magnets to make the metal go so fast. Next were the chemical bombs. The screen showed explosions that could destroy whole buildings. Kim Soo talked about how humans had been making these for hundreds of years, always making them better and stronger. Last were the guns, simple weapons that shot metal bullets. Some were small enough to hold in one hand. Others were so big they needed wheels to move them. The video showed soldiers using them in battles around the world. When the display ended, the room was quiet for a moment. Then the aliens started to laugh. General Thawcrack, the leader of the Corvan soldiers, made a sound like a growling dog. His face was covered in old scars from many fights. Metal pieces? Really? How old-fashioned. Admiral Vextera raised one of her 4 hands. "Our plasma weapons can turn anything into dust. Your little metal bullets seem very basic compared to that." An ethereal floating near the ceiling spoke without moving its mouth. The words appeared in Han Wu's mind like thoughts that were not his own. War should be beautiful and clean. Methods are messy and ugly. Commander Park Jin, who knew more about weapons than anyone else on the team, stepped forward. "These weapons have worked for us for a very long time. Sometimes the simple way is the best way. The simple way is the old way." General Thawcrack cut him off. His scarred face twisted into an ugly smile. "Your people might be smart, but these weapons belong in a history museum." The other aliens nodded and whispered to each other. Han Wu heard words like backward and primitive and cute as they talked about human weapons. The decision came fast. Tall alien with purple skin and too many eyes read from a glowing tablet. Earth will be given observer status only. You may watch our meetings, but you cannot vote or make decisions. Your technology is too simple for full membership. Okay, the aliens began to leave the room. As they walked past the humans, Han Wu could hear pieces of their conversations. They used words like savage and ancient and funny when they talked about Earth's weapons. Admiral Vextera stopped near Han Wu before leaving. Do not feel bad, Captain. Many young races must wait before they are ready. Perhaps in a few hundred years, when you develop real weapons, we can talk again. Han Wu watched her walk away, her cape flowing behind her like liquid silver. Round Tim, his team, stood quietly, their faces red with shame. They had come so far and hoped so much, only to be laughed at like children showing toy weapons to adults. The great hall of Nexus Prime suddenly felt very cold and empty as the humans stood alone, their simple uniforms and simple weapons marking them as outsiders in a galaxy of wonders they were not worthy to join. 6 months had passed since the aliens laughed at Earth's weapons. Admiral Han Wu now lived on a small space station near the edge of Coalition space. Earth had built it too. Watch what the aliens were doing. The station was quiet and lonely, with only 20 humans aboard. Han Wu was drinking coffee in his office when the alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed everywhere. His assistant, Lieutenant Park Mina, ran into the room with her face white with fear. "Sir, you need to see this right now," she said, her voice shaking. They rushed to the control room where all the screens showed the same thing. Long-range sensors had found something moving through space, far away. At first, it looked like a small dot. But as the computers worked on the image, Han Wu felt his blood turn cold. The ships were huge. Each one was bigger than a city. They were black as night and shaped like sharp triangles and squares stuck together. The metal looked like it ate light instead of reflecting it. 27 ships moved in a perfect line through space, heading toward Coalition worlds. "How big are they?" Han Wu asked. "The smallest one is 5 kilometers long," Park Mina said. "The biggest is 15 kilometers. They're moving at half-light speed, and they're not stopping." Dr. Li Yuna came running into the room. She was Earth's expert on alien history and ancient languages. In her hands, she carried old books and data tablets that the Coalition had given Earth to study. "I found something," she said, breathing hard. These ships matched descriptions in the old texts. They called them the Devourers. She opened one of the books. Its pages were covered in strange symbols that looked like they were written in blood. The stories say they came from outside the galaxy long ago. They ate entire star systems, planets, suns, everything. "Hun, what happened to them?" Han Wu asked. "Nobody knows. The records just say they vanished into dark space. But the old texts warned that they would return when the galaxy was fat with new civilizations. The first battle happened in the Altair system. The Zephyrian Third Fleet was patrolling there when the Devourers arrived. Admiral Vextera, the same alien who had laughed at human weapons, led her ships to fight them. Han Wu and his team watched the battle through long-range sensors. The Zephyrian ships were beautiful to see. They looked like glass sculptures that flew through space. Their hulls sparkled with rainbow colors. Admiral Vextera's flagship was the biggest. It was shaped like a crystal flower with weapons that glowed blue-white. When she gave the order to attack, the ship's main gun charged up with energy so bright it hurt to look at. Plasma cannon at full power. Her voice came through the radio. All ships fired together. The Zephyrian fleet shot beams of superheated plasma at the lead Devourer ship. The beams were so hot they could melt asteroids as they hit the black ship dead center in an explosion of light and fire. For a moment, Han Wu thought the aliens had won. Then something impossible happened. The Devourer ship began to glow. Its black hole absorbed all the plasma energy like a sponge soaking up water. The ship got brighter and brighter until it was hard to look at. "No," Dr. Lee Yuna whispered. "Tina, it's feeding on their weapons." The Devourer ship suddenly shot the same plasma energy back at the Zephyrians, but now it was twice as powerful. The beam hit Admiral Vixtara's flagship and cut it in half. The beautiful crystal ship exploded in a ball of fire and metal. "All ships retreat," came a panicked voice over the radio. But it was too late. The Devourer ships moved forward like hungry sharks. They shot beams of dark energy that made everything they touched disappear. Not explode or burn, but just stop existing. Zephyrian ships vanished one by one as if they had never been there at all. Within an hour, the entire Third Fleet was gone. 25 ships and 15,000 alien soldiers, all destroyed or consumed. The Devourers kept moving toward Coalition space without slowing down. More battles followed. The Corvin empires sent their best warriors with graviton weapons that could crush planets. With weapons bent space itself around the Devourer ships, but nothing happened. Black ships just kept coming. The Ethereals tried to use their mind powers to stop the machines. 12 of their strongest mystics joined their thoughts together and reached out with their consciousness. But when they touched the Devourer ships, they screamed and fell unconscious. Whatever those ships were, they were not alive in any way. The Ethereals understood. Each battle ended the same way. The Coalition's most advanced weapons were useless. Energy beams got absorbed and shot back. Gravity weapons had no effect. Mind powers bounced off like stones hitting a wall. Ship after ship was destroyed or simply deleted from existence. Han Wu watched the reports come in from his lonely station. The same aliens who had called human weapons primitive were now running in terror from an enemy their advanced technology could not touch. The Devourers moved closer to Coalition worlds every day, and nothing could stop them. "Sir," Park Mina said quietly, "at their current speed, they'll reach the Coalition capital in 2 months." Han Wu stared at the tactical display, showing the Devourers' path. Red dots marked their progress through space like drops of blood. Soon, the aliens who had mocked Earth would face extinction. The emergency message came at 3 in the morning. Admiral Han Wu was sleeping in his small quarters when the alarms woke him up. He stumbled to the communication room in his pajamas, still half asleep. On the screen, Admiral Vextera looked terrible. Her beautiful crystal skin was cracked like broken glass. The rainbow colors that used to dance across her face were now dull and gray. Behind her, Han Wu could see smoke and sparks from damaged equipment. "Admiral Han Wu of Earth," she said. Her musical voice sounded tired and scared. "The Coalition needs help from humanity. We are asking for your military assistance." Han Wu rubbed his eyes and looked at his officers who had gathered around him. Commander Park Jin crossed his arms and smirked. "Isn't this the same Coalition that said our weapons belonged in a museum?" Vextera's image shook as something exploded near her ship. We made a mistake about your weapons. The Devourers can stop all of our technology. Maybe your different methods might work better." "Different methods," Han Wu repeated. "You mean our primitive weapons?" The alien admiral's face turned purple with embarrassment. "Please, we are desperate. Entire fleets are gone. Billions of people will die if we cannot stop these machines." Han Wu looked at his team. They were all thinking the same thing. 6 months ago, these aliens had laughed at them. Now they were begging for help. "We will come," Han Wu said finally, "but not as your servants. We come as equals." Within 2 hours, Earth's space fleets were moving. The ships were much smaller than the alien vessels, where Coalition ships were. Built to look scary and impressive, human ships were built to work well. They looked like gray metal boxes with engines, but they were fast and tough. Han Wu moved to the Soul's Pride, Earth's newest fighting ship. It was only 800 meters long, tiny compared to the alien ships that were several kilometers long, but it was packed with weapons and armor as they flew toward the meeting point at Kepler Station. Han Wu could see alien ships watching them through the windows. The aliens looked confused and worried. These small human ships were supposed to save them. The war meeting was held in a big room on the station. General Thorkrak, the Corvin warrior who had mocked human weapons, now looked desperate. His scarred face was pale with fear. The Devourers can absorb our energy weapons, he explained. Plasma beams, gravity weapons, mind attacks, nothing works. Their ships seem to exist in a different dimension that cancels out our advanced technology. Captain Seo Han, Han Wu's tactical officer, studied the battle reports on her tablet. What about just hitting them with something solid? Pure physical force. General Thorkrak's mouthparts clicked together in what might have been laughter. Physical weapons are ancient history. Any race that can travel between stars would have shields against simple impacts. But have you actually tried it, Commander? Park Jin asked. An ethereal floating near the ceiling sent thoughts into their minds. The words felt cold and superior. Why would we use such ugly methods when we have much better weapons? Han Wu watched as his crew prepared their ships for battle. Human soldiers loaded tungsten rods into the railgun magazines. The rods were just pieces of metal, but they would be shot at incredible speeds. Other crews loaded chemical explosives. That looked old-fashioned next to the aliens' antimatter bombs. The aliens watched this with growing doubt. One Sifarian officer whispered to another, "Are those really just metal sticks?" Corvin soldier pointed at the chemical bombs. "Those explosives look like something from our Stone Age." Admiral Vextera came to speak with Han Wu privately. She looked around to make sure no other aliens could hear them. "Are you sure these weapons will work?" she asked quietly. "Okay, we cannot lose another battle. Too many have died already." Han Wu touched the pistol on his belt. It was a simple gun that shot metal bullets. His grandfather had carried the same type of weapon, and his great-grandfather before that. "Okay, Admiral," he said, "you aliens spent thousands of years making your weapons more and more complex. You forgot that sometimes the simple answer is the right answer." "But the Devourers are so advanced," Vextera argued. "How can primitive weapons hurt them?" Han Wu smiled. "Because they're not primitive. They're fundamental. When you shoot a piece of metal at something very fast, it has to go somewhere. That's physics. It doesn't matter how advanced your shields are if they're designed to stop energy, not matter." The alien admiral looked confused. "I do not understand." "You will," Han Wu said. "The Devourers evolved to fight races like yours, races that use energy weapons. They never learned to fight races like us. It's the combined fleet prepared to leave for battle." Han Wu looked out at the human ships surrounded by the much larger alien vessels. His small gray ships looked like children's toys next to the magnificent coalition dreadnoughts. But he remembered something his father had told him long ago. "Son, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight and the dog." The aliens were about to learn that humans had a very big fight in them. The combined fleet reached the edge of the Kepler Nebula just as the sun was setting on a distant planet. Space looked beautiful here, with colorful gas clouds floating like paint in water. But Admiral Han Wu was not looking at the pretty colors. He was staring at the enemy. 47 Devourer ships hung in space like black daggers. Each one was the size of a mountain, their dark metal surfaces eating light like hungry mouths. They moved together in perfect rows, never breaking formation. Energy from their previous battles crackled across their hulls like blue lightning. Han Wu stood on the bridge of the Soul's Pride. Around him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. Through the big windows, he could see the coalition ships spreading out for battle. The Zephyrian ships were beautiful to watch. They moved like dancers, spinning into spiral patterns as their plasma cannons began to glow. The light was so bright it hurt to look at directly. Their ships looked like flying jewels against the dark of space. The Corvin warships were different. They formed into sharp wedge shapes like arrowheads. Their gravity weapons made a deep humming sound that Han Wu could feel in his bones. The weapons could bend space itself, crushing anything caught in their field. All coalition vessels begin attack pattern Alpha. Admiral Vextar's voice came through the radio. She sounded nervous, but determined. What happened next was both magnificent and terrible. The coalition ships opened fire all at once. Plasma beams as thick as buildings shot across space, burning bright blue and white. Gravity weapons twisted the very fabric of reality, creating whirlpools in space-time itself. The weapons hit the Devourer's ships with the force of exploding stars. For a moment, Han Wu thought they might actually work this time. The enemy ships were completely covered in fire and energy. Then the impossible happened again. The Devourer hulls began to drink the attacks like a man dying of thirst. The plasma beams were sucked into the black metal and disappeared. The gravity weapons simply slid off the ships like water off glass. No effect, reported Captain Seo, hewn from her position. They're absorbing everything. The Devourers fired back. But their weapons were not like anything the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of energy beams or explosions, they shot streams of pure darkness. The dark beams moved through space like rivers of night. One of the beams hit the coalition cruiser Sephirsong. The ship was there 1 second and gone the next. Not exploded, not destroyed, just erased as if it had never existed at all. The 3,000 crew members aboard simply stopped being lighting ancestors, whispered Lieutenant Kim Soo. They deleted it. More dark beams reached out from the Devourer's ships. Each one that hit a coalition vessel made it vanish completely. The beautiful Zephyrian ships and the tough Corvan warships disappeared one by one, leaving only empty space. Behind, coalition forces fall back to support positions. Han Wu ordered over the radio. Humanity will take point. The surviving alien ships pulled back, their crews terrified and confused. Their most powerful weapons had done nothing while the enemy erased their friends from existence. Now it was Earth's turn. The human ships moved forward. Next to the huge alien vessels, they looked like toys. The Soul's Pride was only as long as a city block, while some coalition ships were as big as entire cities. Railgun batteries target the lead vessel, Han Wu commanded. All ships prepared to fire. The human ships spread out in a simple line formation. No fancy spirals or aggressive wedges, just a straight line of gray metal ships facing the enemy. Sir, said Commander Park Jin, targeting solutions locked on the first Devourer ship. Fire, Han Wu said quietly. The railguns spoke with thunder. They did not shoot beams of energy or bend space, simply hurled pieces of tungsten metal at incredible speed. The metal rods were accelerated by magnetic fields until they were moving at 3% of light speed. The tungsten projectiles hit the lead, Devourer ship like hammers striking an anvil. But these were not energy weapons to be absorbed. They were solid matter, moving with unstoppable force. The ancient ship shuddered. Its hull, designed to drink energy and redirect gravity, had no answer for simple physics. The tungsten rods punched through the quantum-hardened armor like bullets through paper. Direct hit, shouted Lieutenant Kim Soo. Hull breach confirmed. For the first time in the battle, a Devourer ship was actually damaged. Dark fluid leaked from the holes in its hull, and sparks flew from broken systems inside. All human vessels, concentrate fire on damaged target, Han Wu ordered. The Earth fleet opened up with everything they had. Chemical explosives, unchanged since the invention of gunpowder, detonated inside the Devourer's hull where its energy absorption systems could not reach them. Electromagnetic pulse weapons sent surges of electrical energy through the ship's circuits, overloading systems that had no defense against simple electrical disruption. The massive Devourer ship began to break apart. Its perfect black hull cracked like an egg, revealing the complex machinery inside. More human ships fired, their railguns, each tungsten rod tearing new holes in the ancient vessel. "Impossible," came Admiral Vextera's voice over the radio. "They're actually hurting it." The first Devourer ship exploded in a ball of fire and twisted metal. The other 46 ships stopped their advance, as if confused by what had just happened. Han Wu smiled grimly. "Sometimes old-fashioned is exactly what you need." 3 weeks after the battle, Admiral Han Wu found himself back at Nexus Prime, but this time was very different. Instead of being laughed at, he was walking through halls filled with cheering aliens. Spherians bowed their crystal heads as he passed. Corvan warriors saluted with their scarred fists over their hearts. The great ceremony hall was packed with representatives from every species in the coalition. The same room where Earth had been rejected now held a celebration in humanity's honor. Banners from 100 worlds hung from the ceiling, and the air buzzed with excited voices in dozens of languages. Admiral Vextara stepped up to the speaking platform. Her crystal skin had healed from the battle, and her rainbow colors were brighter than ever. But when she looked at Han Wu, there was something new in her eyes. "Respect, friends and allies," she began, her musical voice carrying to every corner of the hall. "We gather today to correct a great mistake. 6 months ago, we told the humans their weapons were too simple for our coalition. We were wrong." The crowd grew quiet. General Thalkrak walked forward, his battle-scarred face showing an expression nobody had ever seen before: humility. The proud Corvan warrior who had mocked human weapons now stood before them with his head bowed. "The Corvan Empire has always believed that strength comes from the biggest weapons and the most complex technology," he said. "Today we learned that true strength comes from understanding how to use what you have." An ethereal floated down from the ceiling. Its ghostly form pulsed with gentle light as it spoke directly into everyone's minds. "We ethereals sought to make war into an art form, something beautiful and elegant. The humans showed us that sometimes war is simply about survival, and survival requires whatever works." Han Wu stepped forward to accept the ceremonial badge that would make Earth a full coalition member. It was made of metal from the home worlds of every species, a symbol that all were equal under its protection. "Honored friends," Han Wu said, "this victory was not won because our weapons were better than yours. It was won because our weapons were different. While you created tools to fight other energy-based civilizations, we kept using the simple methods that had always worked for us." Commander Park Jin walked onto the stage, carrying something that made many aliens step back in surprise: one of the tungsten rods used in the railguns. It looked like nothing more than a pointed metal stick. "This piece of metal defeated ships that your most advanced weapons could not touch," Park Jin said. "Not because it was magical or high-tech, because it was simple. The Devourers were designed to absorb energy and redirect force, but they had no defense against a chunk of metal moving very, very fast." Dr. Lee Yuna joined them on the stage with her ancient books and data tablets. "The old texts told us that the Devourers had fought energy-based civilizations before and learned to counter their weapons, but they had never encountered a species that still used kinetic force as a primary weapon." Admiral Vextera listened carefully. So our advanced technology was actually a weakness. Not a weakness, Han Wu corrected. Just incomplete. Your plasma weapons are incredible for fighting most enemies. Q's. Your gravity manipulators can do things we cannot even imagine. But when you face something completely different, you need different tools. Captain Seo Heian spoke up from the audience. The Devourers expected us to fight like you do, with energy and exotic physics. When we hit them with simple kinetic force, their systems did not know how to respond. The ceremony continued with the signing of documents that made Earth a full coalition member. But more importantly, they also signed agreements to share knowledge. Human engineers would teach alien species about kinetic weapons and simple mechanical systems. In return, alien scientists would help humans understand energy manipulation and advanced physics. General Thokrak approached Han Wu after the ceremony. Admiral, I owe you an apology. When I saw your bullets and bombs, I thought they were crude and outdated. They are crude, Han Wu replied with a smile. That was exactly the point. Sometimes crude works when sophisticated fails. Gaugeman officer raised her hand. But how did humans know to keep using simple weapons when you developed advanced technology? Lieutenant Kim Soo answered. Because we never forgot that the universe runs on basic rules. Gravity, momentum, energy, transfer. These are not primitive concepts. They are the foundation of everything else. You can build amazing things on top of these rules, but you should never forget the rules themselves. As the celebration went on into the night, Han Wu found himself on an observation deck, looking out at the stars. Admiral Vextera joined him. There. Thank you, she said quietly. Without humanity, my people would be extinct. We all protected each other, Han Wu replied. That is what allies do. Vextera was quiet for a moment. I have been thinking about what you said, about simple solutions being the best solutions. Perhaps we made our civilization too complex. Han Wu touched the simple pistol at his side, the same gun his grandfather had carried. Complex is not bad, but never let complex make you forget simple. The best solutions use both. Looking out at the galaxy, Han Wu felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. They had proven that wisdom came in many forms, and that sometimes the oldest methods were exactly what was needed to face the newest threats. The humans had earned their place among the stars, not by becoming like everyone else, but by remaining true to themselves.